Everybody wanted AI. Everyone wanted to roll it out very quickly. Everyone wanted more automation. Everyone who could have foreseen this happening. I've talked about in separate video, maybe before or after this, how automation has now cost 2,000 people, pizza delivery drivers, their jobs, given that was the state forcing a $20 minimum wage. But McDonald's had, a demand for higher wages from their employees. And now they've just started rolling out stores that are nearly completely run by machines. This is the future. We are going to have an absolute employment crisis on our hand, and it's coming quicker than you think. And guess what? It's not going to affect most of you. People who work in the trades, people who work in specialized skills, your jobs won't be so easily replaced. In fact, I believe it was a recent South Park episode where the handyman was like a multi-millionaire because nobody knew how to do anything for themselves. Well, if we look at now, Google is set to lay off or fire 30,000 people because of a rapid improvement in automation. 30,000 probably college-educated, in debt jobs, workers whose job is no longer even required. Think about that. AI and automation are going to have a similar, if not larger, effect on the United States the worldwide workforce than the invention or the adoption of the personal computer. It's going to displace far more people. 30,000 woke idiots from Google gone. And this is, if we just go back to a little bit earlier, Google fired 12,000 employees a year later. The CEO says it was right. It was the right call, just done in the wrong way. A few days ago, Google CEO Sundar Pichai, who probably makes $50 million a year, openly acknowledged that the way Google managed to lay off 12,000 employees, about 6% of its workforce, was not done right. This is mission, reflecting on one of the largest layoffs in Google's history, begins a sharp focus on ethical and practical considerations of corporate downsizing. Look, this is something that I've always tried to tell my viewers, always try to instill in people that watch my videos, that listen to my, listen to my podcast. It's always better to live beneath your means. It isn't, living even at your means is not a great long-term plan. Now, if you're a contractor, if you're, like the housing market seems to ebb and flow with interest rates. But to be honest, locally, I talked to a construction guy who runs a construction company this past weekend. Nothing's even slowed down at 6% interest rate, or 6 or 7%, whatever it is now. These people with white collar tech jobs, the saying's not going to be learn to code anymore. It's going to be like learn to solder, or learn to pipe, learn to dig. They're going to have to learn how to get their hands dirty, learn how to grout. That's going to be the new meme. And then we talk now, Google announces 30,000 layoffs from ad sales division post new AI innovation. This story released yesterday. Now, I don't know if they have formally announced it yet. There are several websites covering this. Google to let go of 30,000 employees due to new AI innovation. And Reuters, Google plans ad sales restructuring as automation booms. Okay. Alphabet-owned Google plans to reorganize a big part of its 30,000 person ad sales unit. These are people that work in the AdWords, like when you see ads on YouTube videos or ads on YouTube videos or ads on Google search engines. They work with the clients, things of that nature. Sean Downey, who oversees ad sales to big customers in the Americas, said that the department-wide meeting last week saw Google plans to restructure its ad sales team without specifying whether the move would include layoffs. Well, of course it does. Robots fighting NPCs. Google intended to consolidate staff, including through possible layoffs, by reassigning employees at large customer sales units who oversee relationships with major advertisers, the report said, citing another person briefed on Google's plans. The planned reorganization comes as Google's relying more and more on machine learning techniques to help customers buy more ads on its search engines, YouTube, and other services. Google did not immediately respond. In January this year, Alphabet announced plans to cut 12,000 jobs around the world earlier. So this would be an additional, 42,000 jobs this year. Earlier in June, Google laid off employees at its mapping app Waze as it merged the app's advertising system with Google Ads technology too. This is a massive collapse of Silicon Valley that I don't think any of these idiots saw coming. I don't think any of these people saw this coming at all. You know, like they're just like dee 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 dee. Oh, a day in the life of working at Google. I get my espresso, and then I go to a pod meeting, and then I have my salad on the roof, and then I go down, and then I have my dessert in this public square where we have a fountain with little birds, and then eventually I do a little bit of work. There's going to be a whole lot of crying millennials or Gen Z interns that have been fired from Google. A lot of people from India, too. By the way, if you actually work in the agency world, like I did for almost my whole professional career, there used to be a time when you would call ad support and get an American. That was 10 years ago. Now, every time I call an ad support, even for a client that maybe spends $12, $15 million a month, I'm getting, Bhupinda, who barely speaks English, and I'm trying to ask complicated questions. Look at the people that manage YouTube's monetization review process. They're all in this huge building in India. You know, most of these people don't even work. Don't even work in the United States. So this article continues. Amidst all the layoff news, Google has now added 30,000 employees to the running tally. The tech giant is planning to let go of 30,000 employees from its ad sales unit after recent advancements in artificial intelligence, said the president of American and Global Partners, Sean Downey, last week. As per a news report, new innovations can automatically suggest and create ads for customers, requiring basically no human intervention. This development renders the ad sales unit essentially redundant. So when you're writing ads, for AdWords or whatever, it used to be a skill. Like, people ask why when I tweet, often I capitalize the first letter of every word. It's because while I was writing ad copy for AdWords, capitalizing the first letter of every word always had better click-through rates on the ads. And the better the click-through rate, the more customers, the better the quality score, the less price per click you had to pay. All that kind of stuff. So that's why I still do it now. It's because I'm used to writing AdWords ad copy. You used to run A/B split tests, you run ad copy split tests, all this kind of stuff. And that's all gone now. Even YouTube lets you A/B test different thumbnails. So when you have all this stuff, it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine many of these people keeping their jobs much longer. I don't know what the total number of employees are. If 12,000 employees was 6%, another 30,000 would mean maybe we're close to 20% of its overall workforce being laid off. I suspect that number could be as much as 50% in the next year because of AI. AI is not going to affect the plumbers, the carpenters, the tile people, the garbage people, the engineer. Well, it will affect engineers. You'd be surprised how much engineering gets outsourced too, by the way. It's wild to me that, what are these people going to do? They've never got their hands dirty their entire lives. You have one company, Google, laying off 42,000 employees in a single year. Now every one of them has to go compete against each other for already fewer jobs. Facebook laid off tens of thousands, I believe, as well. A massive amount. Instagram, YouTube's, all these companies are laying everybody off, and they all have the exact same skill set. So this is what the future of AI is. It's replacing the people that actually created it. I've said often too that there will be, AI YouTubers. We already have VTubers, which are real people behind an animated avatar, but we're really not, we're really not that far away from just having that do text to speech. I read somewhere today that Kanye's apology to the Jewish community was written by ChatGPT. I don't know if that's true or not, but like this stuff's only been around. This stuff's only been around for basically a year at most and a few months in its current iteration. By the end of next year, if you're in development, if you're in programming, you're in this kind of stuff, I think you should be looking at, other career opportunities. I'm not saying it's going to come for you immediately, right? Smaller companies aren't going to be able to spend, because when you're rolling out this level of automation, it's still a huge cash investment. But yikes, dark future indeed for a lot of these white collar woke folks over at Google. And so you just hate to see it. I guess learn to dig. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.